Can you give us some brief background, Tevo, to your proposal?
Yeah. Let's start this. Okay. So let me open up that thing. Basically, so we few days ago we had discussions in Community Advisor School, which is a place where we trying to onboard community advisors and new people to learn about Catalyst Circle. And we had like continuous thoughts about, okay, how do we train the community advisors, and what is the best approach, what are the study methods. And then I coined something we did a few months ago when I created a Fund 5 proposal and some smaller proposals, which were like a few hundred ADA, like let's say like $1,000 proposals, like I need the bots in this Discord, I want the guides and all that kind of stuff. And while I did it, I made it so that I questioned everything I did. And then I had like one swarm session where 5 people in the room were were also like questioning in what I do. And so it through this working together, a process was designed. I haven't put it on this Miro board yet, but I can copy paste it later. So basically, the idea is that this process, which is like starting is like, okay, what is your problem and why is it your problem? So, and then you like go to the root cause of getting the actual reason of why is it the problem. So it's easy to understand for everybody. And then you kind of try to do the same for the solution, and then you get down to the details. So what's good about mini proposals, since they are like small, I made their like requirement to be at max 80 hours, 80, so like 22 full weeks.
2 weeks, yep.
And as a small budget, so it cannot go like usual. We see proposals that are like 30,000 and takes months to deliver, and you don't even, there are so many loose ends. And so it's much easier to write down the details, like how many hours does this take, and what's the goal of this, what are the metrics, and how do you measure it? And so, because you're very specific with that, it also helps to train the proposal to do these kinds of tasks and to question all of that stuff. So once they do feel like, oh, I'm gonna take this big project now, they can crunch it down to the small little pieces. And also this mini proposal doesn't mean it can't be big. It can be like 10 small pieces of one big thing.
It's like accelerating the whole process, speeding it up and scaling it down to, and then so what's your approach going to be, Tevo? Is it going to be starting with that bang, 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 go problems and then solutions?
Basically, yeah. For me, the simplest thing was still to start like Idea Scale was asking, what is your problem statement? Start from there.
Do you want us to come up with our own problems? Should we try that, or did you have something else in mind? Or...
I think it's easier. I don't know actually. I'm gonna copy paste the design itself.
Yeah.
And then we can either brainstorm a new problem.
Sure.
And I'm gonna, oh shit, deleted it. Copy paste it without the solved one yet. Oh my god, that's a big one. Let me make it smaller.
I thought, yeah, it's not small. Yeah, it's like Independence Day.
So just real quick, so the objective of a mini proposal would be, I guess, to have really concrete deliverables. Because it's smaller, you can really break it down into precise chunks. Is that kind of the idea?
Yeah. And I would also like to take it to one more step, like as a strategy. So yeah, it's cool that, okay, there is a process and it produces proposals. At least the hope is to produce proposals. As I have gone through them, I am able to create proposals in 1 to 2 hours, which are like I don't know how high quality it is because well, I did it all depends how people feel like it. Does it fit to the challenge? Because these are other metrics, but at least they make sense. They're like, okay, I know what it's about and how it takes, and in that sense they are in quality. The people read it in 10 minutes, they understand what's it about, and they either like it or not, depending, does it fit to the challenge and does it improve the Cardano ecosystem.
Okay.
And okay, so that's the one thing. So now we have these kinds of proposals, but the one thing about this workshop is that it is also about education and they making the video content. So while we are also like doing the workshops, we will learn how did it go, what people did, and that can be extracted as educational content for the Catalyst Advisor School we have, where then we can literally take mini proposals and put it, because they are smaller scope, and like put it on like a course of a CS school, and they can see it. Okay, this is how it like how to fix it, and it's much faster than taking a huge project and being very abstract how to fix it. And another level of that is, but this mini proposal development challenge actually is already in Fund 5, and we ask almost 12,000 euros as a treasury. So one cool thing is that once we get these mini proposals, we can try experiment different voting methods between just the people who run the facilitation, people who are from the community who thinks what are the best communities, then maybe some blind like voting, also maybe some reputations, all kinds of games to actually fund beforehand this and experiment of, hey, since it's so small task, do it, and if you do it, you get paid. Like all of these kinds of different small metrics to already fund these kinds of tasks or proposals people want to do.
So Tevo, it's like running a little test case mini proposal from an educational perspective as well. That's why the Catalyst School's involved. Is so, and that's why I'm involved here, is to see how this could be used, so people can come along for fun as well and just do their mini proposals and stuff like that. And if we get funding, we'll have a mini treasury as well. Okay. And then so it could be, we could gamify that, but also the reason I'm here is also to look at, say, documenting what people do, to say if we can use that for training materials. So
okay, and documenting the workshop, which is early August. Okay.
Yeah, so to observe what people are doing and the kind of techniques they use in order to build their mini proposals, and to see if we can then capture those techniques and then use them for course materials. That's the other thing that's going on here as well. So
that would make sense.
Yeah. Sorry, Tevo.
Hey, thanks. So it's a good summarization.
Yeah.
Have any questions before I go into mini proposal, or you?
No, go for it.
So this sign is, like I said, it starts as a problem. It might be not quite the right way. Like that, this is what we have to define in few weeks. Is there even better way? But it's already good to have something to start with, even if it's not.
Mm-hmm.
So the way I was thinking was that, okay, let's start with the problem. So what problem you see? Is there, and maybe we could already think of something and quickly. Since we have 35 minutes and usually it takes me hour to do, I think we can create a draft proposals, but we won't get the final version of it. So what problems you would see, what could be done in 2 weeks or with less than $2,000?
Mm-hmm.
So something that can be achieved in 2 weeks for $2,000, and an improvement to Catalyst ecosystem, or something in Discord, or something on idea scale, or to actually code or build something.
So you're wanting some ideas now?
Yeah. Right now we are brainstorming.
One thing for me would be I guess, bridging the gap between what's happening on Project Catalyst and then the larger community on social media. So that bridge would probably happen through the source of content. So some sort of, that's probably my recent background is content. So some sort of using content to bridge, I guess, what's happening in Project Catalyst to social media.
Some sort of pipeline between social media and content that's being produced in the Catalyst community or something.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, some sort of pipeline.
And
okay, so let's run with it. Like since Discord and content is kind of all both for the wait, I'm actually deleting, are both for the pretty much bridging the gap. So Discord is trying to bridge a gap between people from social media, capturing people to the same area, same tool, and content is how to capture attention. So this is kind of bridging it, and the problem, but this is almost like okay. So why is it the problem? So this is now.
Well, the problem is that it's because there isn't, like, in my opinion, the bridge is like a narrow bridge. So there's only a few number of people that are actually migrating from social media to Project Catalyst. So we need to widen that bridge. So for me, there's like a bottleneck problem because we're not communicating what's happening on Project Catalyst to the larger Cardano community. Like you have the diehards that are proactive about seeking out this info, but then you have this massive Cardano user community, which are maybe less proactive, but probably would get involved if they knew exactly how to get involved. So, and for me, that's just creating more content because content is how we communicate. So creating content in terms of what is Project Catalyst, why does it exist, how do we get involved, and then you'd pretty much have a piece of content answering each of these questions. And that would be.
I'm gonna make it sticky. So it's hard for people to get involved to Catalyst from outside Cardano or
yeah.
in general.
In Cardano, but like the more passive Cardano community. So like the community is huge, but there are some that are just have heard a YouTube video or two, and that's kind of the extent of it. So how can we tap into that larger reservoir that we're currently not tapping into?
How do we get them engaged in something? So
yeah,
when you think of the content, Blane, do you think, or should we be more specific about the content? Should we focus on, let's say, like, for example, the proposals that we do in Catalyst, or do you think it should be something more social?
I think this is now goes to the solution it, but okay. I think we are not yet. We could go deeper with the problem.
Okay.
So it's hard for people to get involved Catalyst by passive Cardano community.
Yeah.
And problem is, and why is it the problem that they are not why passive Cardano community is not involved?
I think because for the passive community, usually the gateway to Cardano was through like a Charles Hoskinson YouTube video or something like that. That's kind of their first interaction with Cardano. And if that's on YouTube, they kind of just stay on YouTube, and whatever's on YouTube, if they stumble upon another Cardano video, then they may learn something new, but then they're kind of not really seeking out other platforms or yeah, so it's hard to get people involved with the Cardano community. Like we're not activating the larger Cardano community. Like we've got a massive community. We've got so many people that are fans, but they're not activated as a community. So how can we activate them? Like, so we can realize the full potential of the community.
We are not activating full potential of Cardano community. Now we are getting somewhere. I think this is nice. We are not activating full. Yep. And could we create something else? And could we to brainstorm one more problem? Like a reason of why is it the problem that it's hard to people to get involved with Catalyst by Passive Cardano community. Maybe this could be further better, but that's beside of it. We get the idea.
Yeah.
Is it that bridging the gap between platforms? Is that the why as well? We're not activating the full potential of the Cardano community, and we're not bridging the gap between platforms.
Yeah.
Yeah, but why is it the problem that we are not bridging the gap?
I think it's fragmentation of fragmentation in the community, fragmentation of action.
Siloing, maybe.
Yeah, siloing.
Creates fragmentation in action, less aligned.
So one community doesn't know what the other community is doing and maybe working in different directions from another community.
And
we certainly get that between voters and maybe Catholics.
We can't even call it less aligned cooperation. There is not enough, I don't know, like collaboration. No.
It's also about being like cross-referencing, isn't it? Maybe it's about like it's not just being aware of another community; it's acting on that. I'm not sure how you describe that, but it's like if I'm aware of something the stake pool operators are doing, it might interest me, and I might do something about it. I just don't know what words are for that, yeah.
So we have
that's discoverability, isn't it? It's discoverability of issues that may interest you.
Yeah, so it's like before you act, you first need to be aware of the thing that you're acting on, and like I feel like that is kind of the issue is there's this lack of awareness of really how else we can get involved. And I'm talking more from the passive, like the maybe the new Cardano community or ones that are, I don't know if passive's the right word. Maybe it is the right word, but there are a lot of people that would, with the right message or the right piece of content, they would kind of maybe join the Zoom call or sign up to the next Project Catalyst. Like there's just unrealized potential.
Yeah, it's finding that switch that's going to switch them on, isn't it? Really, it's kind of like you're passively watching a Charles Hodgkin video, and you think, "Oh, this is good content," but you don't really know how to act on it. You just know, and that's what the bridge is for: is to act on it somehow. So
and provide the awareness of what they can act on as well. Yeah.
Okay, can from these now last 7 sticky notes create a problem statement? Okay, last 5. Fragmentation, less aligned, power of calling, lack of awareness, how we could be involved, unrealized potential.
Is it something to do with not taking advantage? Well, you've got it with the activating full potential Cardano community.
Yeah, it can mean the same thing, but just a different wording, because one of the solutions will go to the proposal. So it is okay to just word it differently, and just later we can like choose, okay, which sounds better.
So something along the lines of the problem statement is we're not fully activating the full potential of the Cardano community because of a disconnect between Project Catalyst or like Project Catalyst plus XYZ and the larger Cardano community on social media or the interwebs. I don't know how specific we want to get, but like there is a disconnect, and that is resulting in this unrealized potential of the community.
So disconnect resulting in missed opportunities.
Yeah.
Because there is that opportunity thing where the opportunity to get people involved, the opportunity, to get people engaged. Big problem.
No, yes, huge.
Yes, it's a problem. Yeah.
But I mean, it's not just Cardano. Everyone's facing, like within crypto, is trying to really.
Yeah, maybe we want to bring the entire world into it, and not just Cardano community, even the people who are like new to the blockchain.
Okay. Yeah, there is a disconnect between
humans. Potential. There's disconnect between potential collaborators.
No, I don't know.
Because of and how did we start with it? What was the reason? It's hard to be involved. Massive social media catalyst to narrow.
Social media catalyst.
It's disconnected in coaching and because of
It's disconnect, but there is a English was never my strong subject in high school.
Project catalyst.
Okay, there is a disconnect between potential collaborators and opportunities within Project Catalyst.
Yeah. Because that kind of covers all bases.
Yeah. And those opportunities, can be many things. So,
Okay.
Yep.
Nice. You have finished to find your personal answer for step 1. So let's get step 2. What solutions do we need? So now we get to the brainstorming part of solving this problem. For me, the first thing is nice pictures and nice infographics.
Yeah.
Like just text doesn't cut it.
Yeah. For me, I'd be looking at, I guess, what are those opportunities in Project Catalyst? So creating a list of what those opportunities are, creating a list of maybe some frequently asked questions within the Project Catalyst. Like I'm sure there probably is a frequently asked questions list already, and essentially creating a piece of content addressing each of those points. Yeah, and then each of those points can be packaged in different ways. It could be packaged as an infographic, it could be packaged as a video, it could be packaged as whatever. And each packaging, I guess, will resonate differently with different content consumers. But I think the idea is beginning with the frequently asked questions or the problems, and then answering those problems through content. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's right. So it is. I mean, it's funny you mentioned that, because I was just thinking of what George Lovegrove Tevo does. He's been working on a kind of glossary of stuff that a glossary of common terms that catalysts should use. That kind of, and also I think he's also mentioned the frequently asked questions. So there's already people in the community who are thinking about this, but maybe it's about bringing things together on this to focus, so as well.
Okay, so I wrote down like short clips and videos because like what we do right now is like this hour-long stuff, which is already kind of hardcore, and people have to want to listen it. But start with actually even like 60 seconds videos or 2 minutes, where it's just like Instagram or TikTok or something where people are like, oh, okay, this is and nice animations like, hey, change the world, you can do this, and they're like, oh, okay, don't care. But then at one point they might be, if they get the repetitive action, like they spend swiping, they usually spend a lot of time swiping. I see people doing that stuff a lot of time, and when they are seeing the consistency of like, okay, there's another third thing about changing the world or changing something, and you're getting funding, or and then the interest will grow and until you capture what he is actually interested. Maybe a board game, maybe a bigger video, or some kind of shop, or some kind of culinary or whatever. Once he gets that attention, then he can move to the bigger content. But I think we are missing this, the smaller ones. Or, and another thing is like, yeah, you said infographics of like big, not big, but the idea is that you get the list of stuff, you get the sense of, oh my God, this network is very big, there is so much to do, maybe there is something I can also do. And then you go down the list and try to like filter out where you could navigate, and then narrow down to the specific team. And once you get to like a different points, like you mentioned. So like I like both of these options. I also mentioned frequently asked questions. So this is I think it could get to the like a loop where you always have the same questions asked over and over. There's always gonna be the new people asking this. So it would be nice to show them, because I think there is a content what answers all of the questions what usually people have, but there is not a single place, or there isn't, and there can never be, even if we create that, hey, you have these questions, we answer it to you, but then there is how the maintenance here is the hard part. So how you have to constantly keep up with the questions and
isn't there a distinction between opportunities and questions? Like, for example, if you're watching your child's software video or something like that, and you want to find out, like, oh, how can I get involved in something? And then there's roadblocks, and roadblocks might be frequently asked questions. So yeah. So, but then the first, as this is like a mini proposal, we want to narrow things down, don't we, Tevo? So we want to say, do we want to narrow things down to a couple of questions, or just a couple of opportunities? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, you could do like to narrow it down. It could be focus on how to get involved in project catalysts, kind of like how to sign up, how to register, how to I don't know. There's heaps of different ways we could.
Yeah, I mean, because that's probably that kind of like, it opens up a whole world of things you can do, isn't it? There's like the community advisor, you can do a proposal, you can be an implementer, can't you? And so should we narrow it down to say like a proposer or something like that, or because it's a
maybe proposer.
But I wonder, but we kind of have this content. So what is wrong with the content we already have, and why do we come back to that? Hey, maybe we should still teach how.
Where's the content going?
Okay. Yeah. So so what we are addressing is that we need to answer these questions in a social media format, which is quick, and like we get back to this easy to consume short clips, or then pretty much infographics, but and they have to be also easy, simply infographics, I think. So we are not creating stuff for the professionals, or well, they can be professional, we just need to capture the attention.
Yeah, so figure out the target audience for whatever specific problem we're addressing. Then we figure out where that target audience spends most of their attention, and then design content for where that attention lives. So if that's on Twitter, if that's on Instagram, if that's in the physical world, wherever that is, you kind of work backwards from where that attention is.
So Blane, one way you might do that, let's say you want to target people watching something on a different platform. Let's say you want to, let's say like this week, Charles does a video, okay, and it's about a subject you think you could connect with an interest and opportunity in Project Catalyst. Okay, so you could retweet that video with context directing people to Project Catalyst, something like that. Is that the kind of thing you're thinking of there?
Yeah, you could do that. I think like there's heaps of different hows that we could do it. That is definitely one way to kind of do it for sure. And then you kind of create a little system so that you can semi-automate that kind of stuff. Another potential how, which is kind of my personal favorite, is if I don't know if there's a specific Project Catalyst podcast. But like if you and it doesn't even have to be a formal podcast, it could just be like these brainstorming sessions that are recorded and you pretty much just extract the audio and turn that into a podcast. But if you did a more formal podcast, you'd record the audio, you'd record the video, and you'd kind of be a bit smart about how you script the podcast so that you're intentionally addressing 10 key points. And then in that podcast, you record it, post that up on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts. But then afterwards, you can cut that podcast up into 10 separate smaller clips, which each address 10 key points. And then you post each of those out as separate pieces of content. So you're kind of creating one big piece of content and then repurposing it 20 different ways. So you're kind of just being a bit smart about it. And then you kind of build up this library that you can continually repurpose.
Yeah, I mean, that comes back to scripting content as well, doesn't it? Because I think it's a problem with a lot of our long form videos that we have at the moment, is that it's quite interesting content, but you can't really find stuff in there. But if you could be more smart about it, then, as you say, you could find stuff in there. That's one thing, and then you can break it up, and then you can then market each of those. Well, you can then deliver each of those segments to people in more digestible chunks.
Yeah, and then you could even do it next level. Say if you had a library of content and you organized it based on kind of certain questions that you're addressing, certain themes, you could have the multiple content creators that then feed that one library, and then each content creator has access to that library. And then so you're kind of exponentially building up that library, which allows us to better communicate the message to everyone else. That's something that I personally would like to do.
That's a great idea, actually. Yeah.
I create a lot of content. I'd love to just put it somewhere that everyone else can just reuse it however they want to.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose that kind of presupposes a kind of filtering, though, because you need to ask people to submit content as a specific format, don't you? So not a specific format, like you need to say, we only want 5-minute stuff or something like that, or
you could upload like the working files. So you could like upload the full podcast or something. Like if I record a podcast, or so that ecosystem graphic that I created, I could upload the Photoshop file, and then people can take certain parts of that and use that in different ways.
We are kind of getting now quite detailed here,
I know,
which means we are. This is good because now we're planning the solutions out, but now to make it even better, we kind of have to focus on since we do like the content creation is something we can later just spin up. So what is the most low hanging or the most required thing we could do to address this, there is a disconnect between potential collaborators. So what they are missing right now, are they missing this small call to action? So simple infographics, like here is these teams, here are these proposers doing these kinds of stuff. Like we have this idea fest, but even smaller, like making highlights of that. And do we want to make it in a video form, or we want to make it like a nice picture where you can, okay, like I understand it. So are these two things like something we should hunker down, and if they are, then what is the topic?
I mean, I think you can combine everything in Blane's approach in a way, because let's say you start with a small library. The library doesn't have to be big to begin with. You just say start a small library, a mini library, and that mini library contains what? Simple infographics to begin with, something simple, which you can then start to build up over time. Then it becomes about relevance, doesn't it? About how you're going to put that out there. So I would say
simple infographics about. So do we want to talk about ideas, what proposals are? Do we want to talk about the themes, or do we want to talk about the process itself, like how do we get funded?
For me, it would be the process. So there's no point talking about the ideas if they're not on the system in the first place. So getting them registered and part of Project Catalyst, it should be the first step, I think. And then you can break down like the ideas and the teams and everything else after that.
If you are going in a direction of video content and small clips, they are also about the process?
So the process.
And by the process, yeah, we mean like how do you sign up and what you need to do to get funded, what steps has to happen.
Yeah, that would probably better be suited for our infographics, probably. If we're talking about the process, then infographics will probably answer that probably more effectively. And you
be
can
more efficient, be more efficient as well.
More efficiently as well.
Yeah, because videos take longer, don't they? So and also they take longer to consume. So and also this, I just want to add a point about relevance. As well as about the process, it should be about like what stage we're at in the process. So for example, the fact that we're in Fund 6, and I know we might have to explain what that is, but because I think there's two things. People come new. I remember when I came first to Project Catalyst, there's two things that got me. One was, my God, this is complicated at first. And then second, it's like, what the fuck's going on? Because you don't really know where you are. So you don't know where you are in the process. You know, so it's like, so there's two things: timeliness and process.
So answering all of those through infographics would be probably the most effective way and efficient way to do it.
Even what state you are as an infographic. So every week you will see, okay, now you're still here, you're waiting for this. There's little, or that would be better in a video, that you get like a 5-minute. Okay, this is what happens.
Yeah, but then the video is always like, if you're trying to convert someone that's more passive, they have to invest 5 minutes to watch that full video versus glancing at an infographic for 3 seconds. So it's like there's less of a barrier to entry to know how to do it.
Also, the infographics can go into the library, and you can use the infographics as a script for future videos. So, but you're right, I agree with Blane. These videos are too long form, even the short video.
For that particular thing, if we're talking about the process and the stages, I personally think that infographics, that's probably the best way to do it. Videos has its place for sure, but maybe infographics is better for this particular thing.
Yeah.
Just making it look like we brainstormed it.
Makes a nice, neat little solution, actually, in a way.
Yeah, it could work out quite well.
Yeah, it's quite.
Theoretically we have like enough time, but let's try to within that 4 minutes to finish up that section.
Yeah, sure.
So these are the two solutions we picked up right now from this brainstorming.
Right.
Both are infographics. One is as the state and one is the entire process. Does your solution answer to the selected problem, and why do they answer to the selected problem? So if we take out this, like there is a disconnect between potential collaborators and opportunities between Project Catalyst, why does creating infographics
Well, the second point it does is the up-to-date information that addresses the disconnect, presumably, or potentially
information,
or relevant information, because that's about relevance is a solution to disconnect, maybe. That's a good start anyway. I don't know, maybe needs to reword that. But,
Well, that disconnect is a communication breakdown somewhere, and we communicate through content these days. So if we have a nice flow of content, then we can solve that communication breakdown.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I'm not good at.
That's a nice, a good flow, keeping the flow of information. A good flow of information addresses the disconnect, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that disconnect is a communication disconnect.
Yeah.
So how do we address that through some good content, essentially,
Yeah.
a content strategy? I use content and communication like interchangeably a lot.
Yeah. And also, it's also kind of like digestible content, isn't it, as well? Because we're doing little bits of content. Maybe that answers the problem a little bit as well, because the disconnect is caused by too much, by inaccessible content.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if it's digestible,
and it's digestible and it's posted in the right places.
Yeah.
We didn't actually address the right place.
Yeah.
No.
So
but it's like generally social media, specifically probably Twitter.
So infographics, but both of these are for the social, like Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, everything is social media for us.
I think we might focus on Twitter.
And YouTube, we don't.
Yeah.
That is something we don't want to. Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all of these cool.
Yeah. But if we had to pick one for the infographics, then Twitter would.
Yeah, again, because of the mini proposal aspect, I would focus on one of them personally.
Twitter.
Blane, could you put me in your infographic?
Yes, I'm working on the next version.
Lovelace Academy, thanks.
Yeah.
You're doing a good job there. I'm wondering how all of this is starting. You're talking about education.
Yeah, this is we're doing this partly to produce educational materials, Maria. So
you're right now testing the method. What is like an educational resource for training proposals to create good proposals, and we are looking to see if it's good enough. And right now, I kind of learned that it needs more brainstorming area, because I kind of knew what had to be here, but I have found out that there is some questions are missing to get all of that out. I had to like manually to insert them, but that's quite good information.
I did a video with someone in the community where we talk about all the phases of a catalyst. He goes through every one of them and why we receive the stars and how it works. sorry, I'm gonna turn on my camera, and how this works. And to help you, I think if you watch that video and you see the gaps that we left because we are here in the Catalyst language and people that are coming are here, maybe it will help you to close the gap.
I think it worked quite well, Tevo. I mean, we got to quite near the. It felt like a bit like a game, a little bit towards the end. I don't know what you thought,
chapter 2, describe your solution to the problem. And yeah, I think we did get a good solution. But considering that it took us 45 minutes to get to this far, which is not even actually halfway through, so
this education going to be done all in infographics?
No. This is just an idea we were brainstorming.
This idea you're brainstorming is to teach people about Catalyst. Or you're brainstorming about building a proposal on Catalyst about it.
So brainstorm about the method is already done. The method is this big line you can see here. And it goes through like different stages where how to create the proposals, and it helps to guide what questions to ask, and we tried right now to hunker down on brainstorming, like how to use this. So the first question we had was what problems you see. So we brainstormed the problems we see, we write it down. And then we explained why is the problem, and we explained again why is it the problem, and the three of us we found one issue which is easy enough, doesn't ask over 2,000 data to do, and we are not activating full potential of Cardano community, or there is a disconnect between potential collaborators and opportunities between Project Catalyst. On the next stage, we were brainstorming the solution for this. And so we had the brainstorm, and then we came up with 2 solutions. Simple infographics about the Catalyst process on Twitter, up-to-date information in what state you are in process on Twitter. So 2 options here. And we now reasoned, we ended up with reasoning why are these solutions addressing the problem we made before. And if that's step done, then we have a searchable name for mini proposals if you have many similar proposals. So if we want to take 2 of these, like we've split them up into 2 different proposals because we find that, okay, these are both good ideas, but they need different attention in a sense that one is addressing the entire process and one is addressing the on-time information, and they're like different things. So but we might want to bundle it together, like in a sense that because in idea scale you have so many proposals there, and you want to recognize, oh, it's like a branding. So so this section here suggests a branding for and a name for the branding. Then the next step would be state you or your team roles in the proposal. So now you're gonna hunker down, like who does what. So we feel, example, we have this infographic. So somebody has to do a nice picture, and it has its designer. So we need a designer role. Then somebody who is grabbing the content. So if we are doing the on-time content, then we are like somebody who is good at goes into town hall, speaks with the community to get that information. Maybe we need even a writer who is like a good communicator and puts it in a good sentences. And like here would be the place where we brainstorm all of these roles, and then we give the reason why we need this role.
And Maria, what we're going to do is rerun this again and again, and then that's the educational materials are going to develop out of it. So it's just the educational materials like a byproduct of this, you see. So we keep running these workshops, and we see how we need to refine them, you know, and we learn lessons from them as we rerun them. And in doing that, that helps inform how we can train people. One of the ideas as well, but also it's actually doing the activity as well, because if we get funding for this, or if Tevo gets funding for this, then we'll be able to have a mini treasury and actually do it for real as well. So.
I see, and it is only covers one social media, covers more social media.
No, whatever idea a person has. Somebody wants to improve his Discord server. Somebody wants to make podcasts about the local community. Somebody has a shop and they have some product they want to sell, but they don't know how to brand it. Like all of the ideas what are able to do in less than 80 hours and or are less than 2 days and 2,000 data.
So it could be any idea, Maria. It doesn't have to be this particular idea that we're talking about here. It could be any proposal, as Tevo says, that you can fit into a small space or small time for it and a small budget. Should we get back to the main room for feedback now? Or
Thank you.
Technically, yes, but I would have liked to learn from you, Stephen and Blane. What was the pain point of these two selections we had, and what could be done better, or what questions I missed here?
Blane, what do you think?
The pain points from the solutions that we came up with,
The process.
The process. I know. I think for me, I like to keep things as minimal as possible. So I don't know. I think. I mean, we didn't really get to run out the whole process, so it's hard to give feedback when we didn't run it out completely. But
yeah, maybe that's one issue, that it wasn't quick enough. Maybe
I think I'm picking up on Blane's simplicity thing, and I know it's not kind of necessary. You know where it forks off into two, like 1.5 and 1.6. I would just have one, and that could make things quicker.
Yeah, but then again, once the first solution we had compared to the second one, I think that is that kind of fits to the proposal. I don't know. I like it more than this, and I like it more than the previous answers. So it did improve, and in my mind, maybe I'm wrong. Like compared to, we started with problem statement, bridging social media and Catalyst is too narrow, which is true, it is a problem. It's hard for people to get involved to the Catalyst by passive Cardano community. So now we are being more specific about what is the narrow, or what branch we are doing.
We're doing the downward arrow.
Yeah,
that's what they call it in psychology. Oh yeah, sorry.
No, go on.
And now we finally ended up with two solutions. We are not activating full potential of Cardano community, which now is something, a call to action. Oh, okay. You already start thinking about, okay, the possible solutions, where the other ones you could be more like, you can be, like, it doesn't matter. Okay. To me, they were like kind of iffy at the start, but we refined it. And then the good one, there is a disconnect between potential collaborators and opportunities between project catalysts. It's like professional already.
I was thinking about it, that having two is useful because it makes you think, that kind of bicameral brain thing going on there, where you kind of like, you come to the point of why, and then if you just have to think of one thing, maybe that's too easy, because you need to take a break and step back and think, hold on a second, have I gone wrong here or something? And then you have to come up with, if you have to come up with two at least, it does make you pause. So I can see that is a useful thing to do, but it does slow the thing down a little bit. And the whys confuse me. Is that in the why you got 1.4 why?
So more explanations. What why?
Not why. Okay.
You're kind of diving deeper till you get to like the root of what the problem is.
Okay. So, right, okay.
I think we are failing as a community because people got interested in Cardano. Okay, they're interested in Cardano. They are not interested in Catalyst. And then somehow they got the link for Catalyst Hall and they came to the Catalyst Hall and they find it's very welcome and they can correlate and understand the information. And now all over the sun, they want to know it and they want to get involved. So what's happening is the funnels where the people are coming to Cardano are different, and it's very hard for us to sort it out, the people when they are coming in the first time, because we don't know what intention he's coming. He's just a watcher, a curious, a future proposal, a future business partner, a future what. It's very hard to get it in the beginning and to answer that why. I don't know if you get it from it, but I have many meetings with people in the community. Is why I get it. People don't get Catalyst.
I think you might, I mean, what we're doing here might address something, because what we're talking about here maybe is what I'm thinking of now is like hooks, where you hook it, you kind of like, you try and engage a person for a specific reason and you draw them in for a specific reason. And when and then there's also a timeliness thing, like that we've discussed here today. I don't know, Blane, what Tevo thinking as well, where you hook people in at the right time, you know, because something's going on, like say it's a new stage in the roadmap or something, you know, and those are critical times. So maybe we should, you know, gear up for those quick, you know, when smart contracts come on or something like that, we should all gear up and, you know, connect with people to come on those particular events and things like that. Maria, maybe. Do you find it helpful, Tevo, then?
Yeah, I do. And that was cool. That time passed too fast for me. I was like,
yeah, that went by pretty quick.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
So I'm gonna stop sharing.
Okay.
And
go back to the feedback.
Yep, we can go back to feedback.
Thanks, Tevo.
Thank you.
Oh, but by the way, Blane, to me, you're quite a new face. Do you have a proposal out there, or a new person in overall?
I don't have a proposal at the moment. Potentially we'll have one in maybe the next fund or the following fund. But yeah, this is my first time joining one of these videos. The time's a bit weird for me because I'm in Perth, so it's always at like 1 a.m. So I decided to stay up this time around and finally meet everyone. I'm glad I did. It was cool.
Thanks for joining.
What is your background?
Yeah, so my background, I'm an architect by trade. But about 2 years ago, I moved city with my girlfriend, and I decided to kind of change career into conservation, which is something that I have always been passionate about. So I kind of started from scratch and kind of built up my personal brand in that, and met some pretty cool people in that space. And now I'm kind of diving more into blockchain in Cardano, because eventually I want to create a decentralized version of WWF. So I've kind of networked in conservation. I'm now trying to learn as much as I can in Cardano, with the idea to eventually bridge the two of them in a couple of years' time. So that's kind of that's my background-ish.
Interesting. Welcome. And if you need anything, you can, I am in Discord and Telegram. It's Maria Carmo 369. I'm here to help if you need. I'm in Ireland, so time here is fine. But if you write to me, I'll answer you back for any feedback that we may need. But don't forget my logo there.
No, I won't. I'll make a little extra note of it now. I'm pretty sure I've already added you to the project stat for the next one. It's impossible. I felt so bad. There's so many ones I missed out. I was like, oh.
That's okay. We are in different parts of the community, and we miss things. It's okay, you know. Don't be hard on you because of it.
Yeah.
Okay. I see you guys. Bye.
Okay. Thank you.
I just realized I didn't stop recording.